Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Matt Hanna.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannas.
Where we like to talk about all your favorite scary movies.
And this week we are talking about a 2020 film, The Invisible Man. I couldn't get my words out there, could you tell?
No, I struggled too, so it's okay.
I know, I noticed. That I did notice. Well, we're talking about The Invisible Man. It was written and directed by Leigh Whannell. It came out in 2020. It's starring Elisabeth Moss. And this film is loosely based off the H.G. Wells 1897 novel, The Invisible Man. So it was supposed to be, from my understanding, a more direct adaptation, but it was halted in 2011. And production, or at least like the attempts to adapt that, had started in 2006, paused in 2011, came back again in 2016 as part of Universal Pictures' cinematic Dark Universe, but then that was canceled after The Mummy did so bad, yeah. And then Universal moved away from that, so then this was able to re-enter development in 2019 with Leigh Whannell attached. So this movie went through some shit to exist.
Honestly, probably for the best. I think separating it from that dark universe is a good thing. Like, we don't need a new one of those. You can always go back and watch the 1930s through 50s originals, however long they went. And so happy to have it. I think this is a pretty interesting and unique, take that's very different. I've actually never seen the original or read the book, but I am aware of what the original is about for pop culture reasons. So, I think this is like a fun way to go about it. Yeah. And funnily enough, I don't know if you have this in your background, we know that Leigh Whannell is also now working on a Wolfman movie, which is also a dark universe, movie.
So we'll see how that is. That comes out in January. The trailers don't look very good, but
that's what I was going to say. Is you and I both do not feel like the trailers are very good at all. That doesn't mean anything. It could be good. I trust Leigh Whannell. He's made this. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed, what was the other one? Upgrade by him. And then obviously the Saw movies I'm a fan of. So
so we'll see. Wishing him best of luck. Hoping
like him.
Wolfman is decent, but we'll see. We'll see.
We're due for a good werewolf movie, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't really think of one.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Twilight. Van Helsing.
No, not Twilight. I didn't like Van Helsing either, so...
I mean, any of the old Wolfman movies. Again, the old Marvel. We'll get some Wolfman when we go back to Universal. The new one, the new park. There's a Wolfman coaster. Yeah,
I am excited about the new Universal park.
Are you going to ride the Wolfman coaster?
No. For the friends at home, I'm very scared of the droppy feeling.
This one's small.
And so I won't go on rides that I think will give me that. Nope.
It's like a spinning coaster.
Well, I also have really bad dizziness and nausea.
Oh my God. Stop being such a baby. All right, let's keep moving on.
Well, tell that to my body, dude.
You're faking.
I can't really help that. I had to buy Dramamine for car rides. Like, come on. I get car sick from my own
If you
driving.
ride the Spider-Man ride at Universal, you'll be fine.
Well, remember the first time I went on the Spider-Man ride, I peed my pants a little because I was scared.
It'd be like that sometimes, but all right.
That's just the kind of gal I am. Well, before we get more into the background, I did want to say, since we mentioned the Creep tapes coming out in our episodes covering Creep and Creep 2 with Sarah and David from Paranormal in Pennsylvania, check them out. I did want to say that I did get a chance to watch the first 2 episodes by the time of recording this episode. I think there should be another episode out by the time this ep comes. But they were fun. They're pretty funny. I didn't think they were that scary, but they're pretty fun, and I feel like they keep the same energy for the most part. So I don't know if they're a necessary addition to the franchise, but they are still welcome additions. Matt hasn't watched them yet, so he has nothing to add. He's boring. Okay, back to The Invisible Man, I guess. So, more background. Obviously, this movie has to do heavily with domestic violence. So, Leigh Whannell obviously needed to do his research as a man making a movie about a woman's experience suffering from domestic violence. Obviously, domestic violence can be felt by anyone of any gender, but in this particular case, it is a male perpetrating domestic violence against a woman. So he interviewed with domestic violence counselors at an agency called Peace Over Violence, which is a domestic violence prevention center in Los Angeles. So he talked a lot with them when he was making the script. And then once he had cast Elisabeth Moss, they sat down over several 3 to 4 hour sessions to kind of iron out the script. And Elisabeth Moss said he fully recognized that there was a female perspective that needed to be listened to, and I could help in providing that. So I'm glad that that research, was seemingly done, because I think that's very important. I would say this movie is interesting because it does show a lot of different types of abuse. I think there's certain things that when it comes to that topic that it still fucks up. But I'm glad that he, was doing the research and speaking with his lead actress for clearly hours to make sure that the female perspective was heard, given he is a male filmmaker, both writing and directing this movie.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add. That was a lot of information.
Yes.
So hit me with the next fact.
Okay. Last major fact. So obviously Elisabeth Moss is the core of this film, and there are a lot of scenes where it's just her on camera. So apparently she had asked her co-star, Oliver Jackson Cohen, who plays her abusive partner, to be present to help lend authenticity to the performance. So at times it was a stunt double, at times it's no one, and then at times it was Oliver. So she said that, quote, "There were times when if the invisible man had to speak in a scene, I would prefer to have Ollie there. And then there were times where when nobody was there at all, and times there was just a blank space." Oliver says, "It was definitely I didn't shoot for 4 days of the movie. I was there for 2 months. It was a fair amount." So
I'm surprised he was there for 2 months.
Slip me into a green suit and I'm a go. That's what he said.
All right.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised at that too. That's why
I feel like he could have shot his parts in 4 days.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah.
I
That's
wasn't.
funny.
Yeah, but I think it's because she wanted
him
there.
It helps. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I did read an interview where she was like, "Yeah, he was probably there quite a bit more than he actually needed to be, but I guess they were friendly on set and fucking around, so it was nice to have."
He has a very commanding presence, I think, too. So, for me, I feel like that would make sense to throw him in the green suit and let him do it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's definitely, he's scary in this, and it's not even him most of the time.
Yeah.
It's just nothing.
It's really interesting thinking about him in The Haunting of Hill House and how much I love him, and I love his character, and how much sympathy and empathy I feel for him as Luke. And then this movie, it's the absolute total opposite.
He's similar to how he is in that movie that... movie that was up for Best Picture.
Oh.
That you made me watch with... Oh, I can't think of anybody's names.
Describe it.
There's the mom and the other mom. And it's a story about how the mom's kids grew up and she was sad about it. And they were at the beach. She's on vacation. She played the queen in what was the name of that movie?
I have no idea. So
you really liked that movie.
Did I? I don't remember it at all.
What's Madam Webb's name?
Dakota Johnson.
Dakota Johnson's
in it,
in
and
it.
Olivia Colman.
And Olivia Colman's in it. That's
what
right.
I'm thinking.
You can't remember the name of that movie?
Nope.
Well, he was in it and he was kind of a jerk in that too.
Oh shit, was he in that too?
Yeah, he was the husband, Dakota Johnson's husband.
Well, shit.
I'm looking
Oliver.
it up. The Lost Daughter.
Oh, yeah. So
That's
that
what it's
wasn't
called,
very
The Lost
memorable.
Daughter.
It's very much an Oscar bait movie.
I liked it.
Well,
I don't like that term either.
I
use it.
The term.
I know.
What
I
are you
hate
talking
it though.
about?
Because what does it mean? I don't like it when people use it as a complaint. Is what I should say. To be this movie's Oscar bait.
Well, you've done that too. So
pot
calling.
I'm allowed to change my opinions on things because I can grow as a human.
Well, I feel like you've probably used it very recently.
Well, I've changed my mind.
Okay, you've heard it here, folks. Matt will not be saying that term
that a
ever
movie's Oscar bait
again.
As a negative.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think we can move into 15-second summaries.
Okay. You want me to go first?
I don't care who goes first.
Okay, I get the timer out.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Oh, that's a calculator.
I think that's a common mistake that I make. I also alternate between my calendar and the weather app. And I don't know why those two get swapped in my head.
Yeah. All right, I'm going first. Is that
Okay.
fine? Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. All right. Abused partner kills her abuser. Good for her. That's what I got.
Is true.
That's the plot. Are you ready?
I don't really know if I have much to add
to that. All right.
Okay.
Go.
Abused woman is being abused by her invisible partner, so then she's being totally gaslit into believing nothing's there, except she doesn't fall for that because he's a jackass, and it seems right on brand.
That is the movie. All right, full plot now?
Yep.
Oh, you're dropping things out here?
That was part of my chair, just fell off.
Broke. Okay, so full plot description. So Cecilia Kass is trapped in a violent and controlling relationship with the wealthy optics engineer and businessman Adrian Griffin. One night, Cecilia drugs Adrian with her diazepam and escapes his highly secured house with her younger sister Emily's help. Cecilia hides out with her childhood friend and detective James Lanier and his teenage daughter Sydney. 2 weeks after Cecilia's escape, Adrian seemingly commits suicide and leaves her $5 million. His lawyer brother, Tom, handles the arrangements. Cecilia suspects another presence is in the house after several strange events, but James assures her that she is just traumatized and paranoid. During a job interview, she finds her work portfolio contents removed, and then she faints. The doctor says high levels of diazepam were found in her system, and then in her bathroom, she finds the same diazepam bottle with which she drugged Adrian. Cecilia, accompanied by James, meets with Tom. She believes that Adrian faked his death and is using his optics experience to become invisible in order to torment her. While alone at the house, she finds Adrian's phone in the attic, on which she immediately receives a text saying, "Surprise." Cecilia dumps paint down the attic trapdoor, coating an invisible figure. A violent struggle ensues, but Cecilia escapes. She goes to Adrian's home to investigate his lab, where she finds an additional invisible bodysuit, confirming her suspicions. Right after she hides the suit in the bedroom closet, the invisible figure attacks again. She flees and contacts Emily. The pair meet at a restaurant where the invisible figure slits Emily's throat and places the knife in Cecilia's hand, framing her for the murder. While awaiting trial, Cecilia is removed to a psychiatric hospital where she learns she is pregnant. Tom offers to get her charges dropped if she agrees to return to him and raise the child, implying that Tom helped stage his brother's suicide. He reveals Adrian tampered with her birth control to impregnate her. Cecilia refuses the offer and steals a fountain pen from him. That night, she attempts suicide and lures out the invisible figure. When the figure tries to stop her, she stabs him repeatedly with the pen, causing the suit to malfunction. The security team arrives, but the figure incapacitates them before fleeing the hospital with Cecilia in pursuit. To protect her unborn child, the figure instead threatens to attack those she loves. Cecilia races to James's house and finds the figure attacking him and Sydney. She shoots the figure to death and finds Tom is in the suit. Police storm Adrian's house and find him alive, tied up and claiming that Tom held him prisoner. They conclude that Tom killed Emily as well, but Cecilia believes that Adrian set up his brother as the scapegoat for the crimes. To get Adrian's confession, Cecilia meets him at his house, secretly wearing a wire, while James listens in from a few blocks away. She agrees to mend their relationship, but only if he confesses to killing Emily. Adrian insists that Tom was responsible, but claims that the experience changed his outlook on life and how he treated her. After Adrian says the word surprise, Cecilia excuses herself. Moments later, the security camera captures Adrian seemingly slitting his own throat. Cecilia returns and calls 911 and seems distraught. Out of the camera's sight, however, she coldly stares at the dying Adrian and taunts him by returning with the word surprise. Cecilia leaves as Adrian dies on the floor. When James arrives, Cecilia confirms what the camera captured by saying, "I'm okay, he killed himself. He cut his own throat." James sees the invisible suit in her purse but allows her to leave, pretending he didn't notice.
We at Horror Hour with the Hannas know all about the chaos of setting the perfect holiday scene, like our last Halloween party. Hunting for decorations in clutter bins is sometimes scarier than any horror movie, so why not do your future self a favor and make organizing a breeze? You can buy Smart Labels QR code labels on Amazon and stick them on your storage bins. Download the Smart Labels app, scan the QR code, and catalog all the stuff going into the container. Then, months down the road when you're looking for that item, you can just search in the app and it'll tell you where you put it. Don't let missing decorations haunt you. Just slap a smart label on your bin, scan, and relax, knowing the next holiday will be terrifyingly easy.
This is your official invitation to join me twice each week in the Red Treehouse, where I'll tell you scary stories to keep you up at night. You can listen to the Red Treehouse wherever you stream podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Pods, and YouTube. In every episode, we'll explore a brand new scary story or topic, including cryptids, hauntings, possessions and exorcisms, true crime, classic horror stories, and more. And along the way, you'll be challenged to consider what you believe. Does the paranormal or supernatural exist? Or is there a more rational, natural explanation? It's a scary world out there. Let's explore it together. I'll share the stories. You decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Thanks for joining me in the Red Treehouse.
Okay, well, general thoughts.
I remember seeing this movie for the first time not too long after it came out. We probably watched it during COVID. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was very tense, scary at moments. I thought it was a really unique take. And I think if you're going to adapt a 100-year-old character,
is a cool way to do it.
Do something different with it.
Yeah.
I think messaging is interesting. I think it's handled pretty well. And to be frank, I kind of love that she kills him at the end. I'm very happy that they went the distance with that.
I feel like all or most media about abuse, especially abused women, is just kind of revenge stories. And I just wish that that's not what we always got, because that's just not the reality for a lot of people. And also, we probably just shouldn't murder people. But
counterpoint, say your butt. Go ahead.
No, it's
counterpoint. I think that it's supposed to be for catharsis in these situations, because it's different from reality. There's a lot of good revenge stories with women basically doing the revenge against perpetrators of abuse against them. I think I look at Kill Bill. I'm pretty sure there's a movie called Revenge that I think is very similar. And I think it's just, like I said, cathartic. And I think it is outlandish, but I think when it comes to abuse like this, it really feels
he was a
correct consequences.
Piece of shit where there is no consequences but being brutally murdered that fit the crime. He has done horrible, horrible things to her. But I don't know, I'm just kind of sick of revenge abuse stories. Promising Young Woman did it. Yeah, I just feel
but it is hard. I think it's going to be much harder to make a movie that is a more realistic portrayal. It's going to be hard to get it greenlit, hard for it to make money.
Yeah, no.
It's going to be a hard movie to watch in general.
Yeah, it would be a hard movie to watch. I think any form of abuse is extremely hard to watch. And I think even this, the opening scenes are really difficult to watch because of that.
It's incredible. I love that opening scene. It is so stressful, intense. I felt like that. I'll say I think this movie has a good portrayal of what this woman was going through, and then it goes into the outlandish. But I think it sets up with it very grounded in reality, and I think that I like.
The opening scene is incredibly tense, and just how quietly she's moving, the things that she's doing, I think it makes it clear so immediately how insane the abuse she has suffered has been. I think the setup of the house helps to show that. The setup of where she has to go to even escape. And then showing him when he does catch up to her, literally breaks a window on her sister's car. I think without using any language at all to describe the abuse, it shows us very blatantly. And that is scary.
It's one of the best scenes in the movie.
I think the opening scene is the best scene in the movie. I think it's also really well set up with the tension because the camera will move and nothing actually happens in that room or in that space. But I think it moves to show us or tempt us with what we think could happen there. So it'll move to Adrian sleeping and we're waiting for him
to wake up.
Or it shows a mirror that no one ever walks into the view. But it's because we expect there to be a mirror scare. So I think in that way, it does make that opening scene incredibly tense as well, beyond, obviously, her running away from an abuser.
Yeah, Leigh Whannell is a showman. He's a good director. And so, he is clearly good at crafting these scenes. And it's, really impressive. And I think, one of probably the best scenes he's made in general. I mean, it is horrifying, and for real scary reasons. And it's a really amazing setup. And I will say, even though I think it's like one of the best scenes in the movie, I don't think the rest of the movie falters. I think it kind of just continues to like build in different ways and become scary in different ways. And I like the way this movie moves and changes.
I don't. I think this movie starts really, really strong. I think the first couple times that the Invisible Man is in the home and attacking her are scary, but I think it really starts to drag and become considerably less scary at a certain point. And I think anything that happens to her in the hospital, once I was kind of like, that was dragging, period, but then she gets the pen, and that scene is really hard to watch because she is attempting to die by suicide, but not really, but that's what it looks like. That scene is super uncomfortable and hard to watch. So, trigger warning there. But then after that, once she gets what she wanted, which is him trying to stop her, and then she stabs him, I feel like it loses the tension again for the rest of the movie, for the most part. Or up until she confronts him to his face.
The way I see it is that that's on purpose. Because, I know you don't really play scary video games, but...
I played one.
You played one. This one, you don't really... You do some. A lot of survival horror games start where you are underpowered, like easily killed, and it's very scary from that. And then you power yourself up. It becomes a power fantasy until it's almost an action game by the end. Mm-hmm. And you are able to like go from nothing to something. And the Resident Evil series has done that for a long time. I feel like this is another example where she basically is learning to or finding strength within herself and like trusting herself to eventually like overcome him and like basically get through this horrible thing that happened to her. And I think that plays into this revenge and like kind of catharsis again of like she is powering herself up to finally at the end like take things into her own hands and kill him. She like outsmarts him, figures out ways to draw him out, and like stays true to herself. And that's why I think the tension purposely is removed as she powers up. Does that make sense? That's the way I see it. I mean,
like, I'll take it, but that doesn't
work for you.
I was bored.
I think that
like a half hour.
I do think that's the intention. Though,
I started playing on my phone.
Oh,
I was like, yeah, I don't care.
love it. That's fine. And it's not for everybody. But I'm more saying that I think that that's the intent of the film. Like that tension is supposed to subside as she kind of gets the upper hand. Because she really gets the upper hand while she's in the psychiatric ward. Which like, damn, girl. Like she figures it out.
Yeah. But yeah. I think it's completely devoid of tension, and I know you're saying that might be deliberate, but I don't think it works because then it never really builds the tension back up again.
Doesn't need to, but I got you. We can go to the next part. That's the way I see this one.
I do think that second half of the movie, or at least like that 30-minute slog, is probably the worst part of the movie for me. So I'll focus, before I got to my other criticism,
okay.
I'll say more things that I liked. And again, I think it's Whannell's ability to like create tension by moving the camera and positioning the camera. So the camera angles are very much set up to imply that they're being watched. Like
by someone they can't see.
So like it'll be like part of a wall, and like the camera kind of like is peeking out from the wall, like there's a person there.
It's like a classic slasher trope.
But it works so well because you know that there's probably a person there or could be a person there. So I think that's great. And it also will pan and show random spots in the room, like panning to negative spaces in the room to imply that he is there. So even if he doesn't do anything or show any sign of movement, your eyes are then like there, and then you're waiting for something to happen because you're like, oh, he's there because the camera just told me he is, whether he is or not.
Yeah, overall very well crafted, especially for a monster that you can't see. Like you really have to get creative with how you're going to draw out that tension, and I completely agree with you. It does a good job.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy thing to do. I think by also that opening scene setting him up as this actual real physical tangible threat really helps, because you just feel so awful for this woman. You're like, and she's agoraphobic early on in the movie.
Well, because she doesn't want to leave the house and encounter him again. Because she's like, if I leave the house, he could be out there.
Yeah.
Get me again.
But that's what I'm saying is like, she's agoraphobic. She thinks she's safe inside her home, but then you involve an invisible person getting in there.
Yeah, so she's not.
And she's not safe anywhere. Like her one safe space is gone. And then basically all the people in her life abandon her because they think she's crazy, because an invisible person is crazy. And that is something that really like hurts, and I think adds to this. Like the scariness of this is just her being abandoned by them.
And that's just another example, like another form of abuse, or something that abusers do. They oftentimes isolate you from your supports.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend whose partner started like telling her things about me that I said or did that implied that I was making stuff up about him, like all the shitty things that he did, even though she was the one telling me about most of them. And then she would just turn that on me and be like, you lied. But that's because, he was trying to keep her there and make sure that anyone who felt uncomfortable with his behavior was out of the picture.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's fucked up. So like that felt very, very real and really uncomfortable, having like seen that with my own two eyeballs. I also, there's a lot of gaslighting here. Like the brother is like, no, he's not here. No, you're not experiencing that. And she knows that she is, but he's trying to convince her and everybody else that it's not happening. This is like prime gaslighting in this movie.
And even in her sister and her friends, like, don't fully believe her and kind of
just don't really have evenance to, which I understand.
And I don't know if they saw the level of abuse either, and I think that's a common thing.
Because a lot of it happens behind closed door. Like, I think when you love someone, you are scared to tell people things because you don't want them to judge your partner or your relationship. And then once you don't love them, you're afraid that if you tell someone about it, that it's going to like open you up to more abuse. So it makes sense that she wouldn't have been openly talking. And also, I don't think she had the even space to do that. Like, she knew she was being watched. So who was she going to fucking call before she left? But then obviously, now that she has left, I still don't know if she had it in her to like fully talk about all of it either. So they don't really know what he's capable of.
I think it's also another example of like how the average person is pretty ill-equipped to handle someone having a mental health crisis or any kind of crisis like this. And it's, I think, just our collective American individualistic society.
Yeah.
And
it always drives me nuts because obviously I think that is the case for a lot of people, but not myself. Like when people comment to me. Oh,
it's your job.
It's partially my job. It's partially just that, like, I'm probably empathetic to a fault.
You sound like that's what's your biggest flaw? I'm too empathetic. That's what you would say at a job interview.
No, I don't know what I would say. I
care too much. I work too hard. That's my biggest flaw.
Honestly, though, in a work setting, one of my biggest flaws is that I care too much, because then when I don't do something right, I can't take criticism as well as I want to.
Damn.
You're
being a stereotype.
Look at me. A stereotype to a T. Right. Anyway, that is something. Next time I go to interview for a job, I got to prep answers.
I care too much.
I always have to roll
my eyes. So hard.
I've never said that, but I always need to prep answers to certain questions, because like those kinds of questions make you panic because you don't want to say something blatantly bad about yourself. Not that there's anything to say. I mean,
I can't wait till the day I get to interview somebody. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
I'd be good at interviewing people. I don't want to hear that shit. I wouldn't even ask a question like that.
Well, yeah, that's true. I wouldn't either.
You're right. That's on the interviewees or interviewer. That's their problem.
Yeah. There is no good answer to that question. So, Anyway. Also, like, he's blatantly controlling, like, what she can eat, who she can see, and he's drugging her. Like, there are just so many examples of abuse from this man throughout the film. And I think they do a good job setting up what a shit person he is and demonstrating various types of abusive relationships.
It's interesting because all the types of abuse he does are real types, but from an extreme lens of him pretending to be dead and invisible. Like, I feel like it's all like crazy, sending an email to the sister, pretending to be your partner and like making them look bad. Or, I mean, obviously there's like physical violence that isn't seen by other people because it's behind closed doors, but nobody can see it because that person's invisible. Or drugging them, or removing her birth control. I know that happens before she leaves, but Jesus Christ.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. That is rape, by the way. Like,
yes.
For everyone out there. Like,
yes.
Just saying. But...
yeah, I think if they were more subtle, I don't know if everybody would catch on and be like, yeah, that is abuse. Like the fact that you just had to define that would be.
Yeah. I don't think it needs to be subtle because the subtlety comes from him, the outlandishness of him being invisible. Does that make sense? Like they're not showing abuse in the actual relationship. They're showing abuse as a monster. Yeah. And that I think is like where the subtlety comes from.
I don't think this movie has any subtlety.
Fine. I'm saying in comparison to just showing just filming an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it's not just like showing him.
It's shown from a different angle. Yes. Yeah. Which I think is like how it can have some subtext, you know? Because in reality, there really is not much subtext in this movie.
No.
But and I think that's kind of the point, and it works that way.
I think this movie is just trying to show what an abusive relationship looks like and take on this new take on an existing character. I don't think it's trying to do anything more than that, frankly. I do want to talk about, related to the abuse storyline, something I don't like.
Okay. What don't you like?
So, obviously Elisabeth Moss is the main character of this movie. She's on screen for pretty much the entire movie. We don't know shit about this woman. We don't know her identity outside being an abuse victim. And I don't like that. I think, like, they're not showing her as a whole person. They're showing her as exclusively a victim. And obviously, people are more than that. Like, people are more than just one trait or personality
I think that
they
this
have.
is purposeful again, though, because it is like, at the beginning of the movie, that is kind of all she is, at least to the audience. And like, that is what she has become. I know. I'm saying though, she is able to gain strength throughout the movie and become a person again.
But we still don't see her as a person. She doesn't we don't know anything about this woman besides she was abused.
I think that she stripped all of her personality in her relationship though, which is like an abuse tactic. Right? To basically just like strip anything you were before to become who your partner wants you to be. She's like a shell of who she is.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I could see like it starting that way. But I don't know. I think they're kind of, I don't know. It's just a miss to me to not show this woman who's been through all this shit. She doesn't feel like a real person because of that.
Yeah, interesting. I don't see it that way at all. But that's fine. I understand why you see it that way. I think that I see her, like I said, gaining autonomy throughout until at the very end she has full autonomy and has her most personality.
But that personality is just murderer at the end then. Like, that's not personality.
Sure. I'm assuming she will go on to...
Yeah, I would assume she'll go on and she'll feel safe now so she can live her life the way she wants to live her life.
And I don't know how you could...
for the most part, because she would definitely have trauma that would impact her most likely. But...
I don't know how you could fit that in. You could try.
Like, the only thing we know about her is that she is an architect. She goes to an architectural firm for an interview. That's all we know.
Which is funny because she has that $5 million. I wouldn't be going back to work.
Yeah, but she's not getting it all at once, so...
No. I don't know. I don't know if I see it fully that way. I understand the complaint, but I feel like it makes sense to me why they would go the route they did with it.
I can understand it, but I think having that and then having it ends in as a revenge story, there's no like actual like...
Sure, I guess in Kill Bill you get a lot more idea of who the bride is, although she does entirely build her identity until at least the very end about getting revenge. But you understand her beforehand. But that took 4 hours. This movie's like 2.
Yeah, but because I think there's so much of this movie that was a slog, we could have just fit that in.
A slog? You sound like me.
Yeah.
I didn't find this that way at all. But okay. So what other complaints do you have? Is that the main one?
That's the main one for me, is just like feeling slightly weird about her characterization in the end of her story.
Yeah, I have to think if there's anything I have complaints about. I don't think there's anything. I think this movie's just very fine. Like, I like it. I think performances are all good. I like the way it looks. I feel like I rarely complain about performances in these movies.
Yeah, I think they're fine. They're serviceable. They're fine.
Everything's very fine. I said I like the way it goes. I think it's very big departure from the original Invisible Man, which I think is more sci-fi-y, more about science. But I'm fine going that route. Maybe we need to watch it. We should do all the old 1930s Universal movies. It'd be fun. Go watch Frankenstein.
Yeah, I haven't seen them.
They're supposed to be great. Bride of Frankenstein, I've heard, is phenomenal. So
yeah, I have a lot of blind spots before 2000.
You have a lot of blind spots before 2000. So I have a lot of blind spots pre 1960. So the 50s, 40s, 30s are I'm
the stuff I was alive for. I'm good, dog. I know. You're
missing out. Your mind's gonna be blown.
I have seen the original Nosferatu though.
Okay, that's pretty good. I haven't seen that.
I watched it for...
That's 20s, right?
I had a vampire class in college.
You watched
Fun fact, I took a class called Vampire, Blood, and Empire, and a class with the same professor that was like sci-fi. So that's what my dollars are going to. That's what my student loans are going to pay off.
Humanities are important. I wasn't going to make fun of it, but given how dumb people are in terms
understanding
of like media
and processing
literacy,
art,
or just having critical thinking skills, it all comes from humanities. It doesn't come from your math and science class. Like
my vampire class, I will say though, he was really cool, and like you taught like the history of the different areas and like why they would believe in vampires, and then we'd read like real articles or like stories related to those, like the historical background, and talk about like, oh well, this body was, making noises because that's what bodies do when they die, and they didn't understand that, so then they thought this body was coming back to life, blah blah. But then at the end of the class, this motherfucker was like, oh, but like my mom is actually a vampire though.
I love college professors.
It was buck wild. He talked about how he tied her up when she was dying, so that's what they had to do so the spirit didn't go into someone else.
Fantastic.
So yeah. And then
you had the best teacher for that class then.
I know. All the other professors are like normal people, and I got the guy whose mom's a vampire.
No such thing as a normal professor.
I guess. But yeah, I got the guy whose mom was a vampire. It was hilarious. And then the next day he came in, he was like, I was so touched by all of the emails that I got about my family history. And like, here are all the questions I got that I wanted to explain further. Like, we spent like 2+ hours on this man's life story.
You gotta have Paranormal Pennsylvania call him up.
Oh my God.
Why have you not even thought about
be
that?
So
have him call in.
Funny. Oh my God, Pip, if you're listening to this, be on hit that. Me
Actually,
up.
No, screw that. I want him to call in for us. We'll cover Nosferatu with him.
I don't, because he hit on me when I took the second class with him, and he started texting me.
It'd be like that. That's allowed if you're a college professor.
I didn't like it. I was 18 and I wasn't really.
I know. That. I'm saying it's like a common trope because it's allowed.
He was texting me and then sending me like smiley faces and stuff. He was like, I guess I'm Dr. Evil now. LOL, smiley face.
Maybe he was just being nice.
Whew. That was a lot.
All right. For me though, I don't think I have any major complaints about The Invisible Man.
I just think it's like fine.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Is it's not like anything like outstanding.
I think
it's not really subtle.
When I saw it the first time, I thought it was really, really good, and then this time I was like, oh, yeah, it's fine.
I enjoyed it similarly both times, I would say. I like Leigh Whannell though, and I want him to make stuff. This Wolfman movie, as I said before, I don't know. It looks weird.
I'm wary.
Yeah, and werewolves are so cool.
Yeah.
Let's get like just a normal werewolf story. This one looks like it's just gonna be a home break-in story, but with a werewolf.
Yeah, which I don't get either.
Like, let's get like a classic. Let's get a dude hunting, silver bullets. I mean, you could just do another Van Helsing movie that's not as batshit insane.
This movie, besides being a home break-in movie, is very much going to be about family. In the wise words of Fast and the Furious. Yeah. It's definitely just going to be about how the family unit adapts to that, and like whatever. But
great werewolf movie, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Great time travel movie. Great movie in general.
Remus Lupin, I love him so much.
That Harry Potter movie is so much better than all of them. We've said that multiple times.
Crazy. Like, actually
you get vampires, you get time travel.
Where are you getting vampires in that?
No, I didn't mean vampires. I mean werewolves. What are the things called? They're scary. It's one of the scariest of all of them. The things that suck your soul out. Dementors. I can't think of the name.
You get Buckbeak.
Yeah, you get Buckbeak. That great time travel too. But okay.
It's the first movie with Michael Gambon as Dumbledore, and I think it's a really fun.
Knocks it out of the park.
It's a very fun first movie for him because he has to be like a little mysterious and like trickery.
We keep going invisible on the camera today. It's like
very fitting. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else bad you want to say? We said good. We said bad. We basically said themes too.
Yeah, I think the themes are so core.
Yeah. It's about abuse. It's about her, as I said before, I think growing and becoming stronger.
Except we don't see that much growth.
I think we see growth.
Her learning to beat him.
She beats him up. I think we see growth in the fact that she like starts to outsmart him. He's seen as this like all-knowing genius person, and she's able to get his ass.
She might have been really, really smart the whole time.
True, but she talks about how she basically became whatever he wanted her to become.
That's true.
So there's a whole speech about it.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Abuse is fucked up. Okay, so scenes.
Favorite scenes?
I mean, favorite scene.
I was going to say I love the opening scene until she gets to the car. That whole thing is so scary. Could have been a great little scary short film.
That's mine.
I also really enjoy the scene where she's breaking out of the psych ward.
Oh, see, I didn't like that scene.
And he's every cop, every like security guard is coming to try to help her, and then the Invisible Man is just kicking the shit out of them. That's like where you get the real fear.
I think that was funny.
It is funny. It's like slapsticky.
But
it's also
scary or bad.
See, I think that's also like, let's show what the actual threat of an invisible person would be. And it's that like, they're just going to kick the shit out of everybody because no one can find them.
Okay, also that man is strong as fuck.
Definitely. But it's also strong when you can just like punch people in areas when they're not expecting it. Find those pressure points.
That's true.
Like I really enjoy that. And then like all of them being like, oh, she's right. Like she wasn't lying, but then immediately getting killed. And you're like, no, like we need somebody there to believe her.
It was on the footage. The cop says it later. Yeah. Like there's enough footage that it proves that it's not you.
But throughout we're like, oh no, like she's still not going to be believed. And then she is. And I think that for me, it makes me happy. And I think she earns the ending, and I think we as the audience earn the ending as well, based on like the stress of of believing her and knowing what's happening, and everyone else not believing her. We're like in on we're getting gaslit too, as the audience.
No, we're not.
We kind of are. We're along the ride with her. Fine, we're not getting gaslit by the director because that's been done. But.
Was there a scariest scene?
Also the opening.
Yeah, to just say, bring in a new scene, I would say the one at night where the sheets get taken.
Oh, that one's good.
And then...
Or when she throws the paint out of the attic. That's a good jump scare.
That is a good jump scare, but I think the whole scene in the bedroom at night, especially because there's a person literally sleeping right next to her who when they wake up, they're going to see no evidence of it and not believe her. But like the things he's doing are scary, and then just like it shows us this chair for so long, and like that scene is really tense. Yeah. Also, just like a bedroom scene at night scares me because I'm scared of the dark. So when I wake up in the middle of the night in our room, I'm like, oh my god, darkness.
The Invisible Man's gonna get you.
Anything's gonna get me. Mama's in the closet. E.T.'s under the bed. The Invisible Man is somewhere.
You maybe need to grow out of some of these. I don't know if it's fully healthy at 28 to have these fears still.
Okay, well, we can blame my dad on the ET one.
No, I know. Oh, come on, though. You're 28.
He used to hide under my bed and make ET noises, and I did not know that it was that was actually really happening to me until I was like 20.
But now you know.
Yeah, but it's so ingrained in my head because I spent 20 years of my life jumping into bed when it's dark in there because I can't see under it because I thought someone could be under my bed because my dad
we should do some like exposure therapy
under my bed and make noises.
I think I should make you have to look under the bed every night before bed to and go in the closet. No, it's exposure therapy.
The closet is worse. Honestly, maybe.
Our closet's not big enough. There's too many clothes in it.
Mom, I can still get in.
Oh, okay.
You haven't seen the movie, so you don't see how she comes, like how it works in the
I'm
wall
gonna make you.
of the closet.
I think it's time.
I think I need to rewatch Mama
and then to
get over the
it.
fear. But even looking at photos with her, I'm like, like.
I really don't want to watch Mama.
It's actually apparently good.
Is it? All right, maybe.
Nowadays, I've seen a lot of people say it's good and
reclaimed.
really scary.
All right. Okay, well.
That also has a lot to do with like neglected children. Like it's kind of heavy.
We ready to rate
a movie about like
I don't want to talk about
dead
Mama.
lady. Okay, I'm getting worked up just thinking about it. Yeah, we can rate it.
I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
6.
Wow, easy. We're right in the same range.
Yeah, I definitely don't like it as much as you, but I think there's a lot about it that's really good. There's things about it that I think could have been done better or more entertaining. And
to be honest, it makes me want to watch the original one. So maybe I will.
Maybe we could
read it. Read the H.G. Wells book. He's pretty famous.
I think it would be cool to do like a horror books episode about books we've read.
I want to do it, but you won't read it. So
that book is huge, bro.
It's easy though.
Bro, I'm out here reading 300-page romance novels.
Yeah, so just you read them fast. You read them fast though.
Yeah, I read them in like a day. That's because it's a romance novel.
So it took you 4 days to read it.
I also read like
it's like a youth level book. It's like a high school level.
But I get scared very easily, so I can't read it at night.
No, it's not. It's more fun than scary. And then, I shouldn't say that. It's both. I think it's not scary the way a movie is scary because there's a lot of like relief.
You have not felt the feelings I feel internally when I read a thriller at night. Some thrillers at night, I should say.
I'm telling you. I think
like there was a Riley Sager, I think Home After Dark. It's not scary, but I was scared and I had to like put it down and I couldn't sleep.
You've been doing a horror podcast for 1.5 years. It's time. You should be over this.
So? I'm a chicken shit. I've gotten a lot better. Like I don't have that many nightmares anymore, or I don't like have the whole walking back from the bathroom like having to run thing.
I miss having nightmares.
Absolutely not. No. I used to have the same recurring nightmare every day of my life.
Oh, those are my favorite.
So no, mine was horrifying. I died every day. I mean,
dying is not good. I'm talking about like I like the like horror movie nightmares. I have a lot of Jurassic Park nightmares still. Oh
no, those are cool because even in the dream where I know like I'm being chased by a dinosaur, dream me like pans to the camera and like fourth wall breaks and is like, this is pretty cool, huh? Legit has happened. I like fourth wall break my own dreams with dinosaurs because I love dinosaurs. If Jurassic Park was real, I'm sorry, like I'm fucked.
You don't have the money for that.
Oh, you're right.
We need that podcast money. Like and subscribe and share with your friends so we can
share with all your friends
so that we can get enough money to go to the real Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or cool. Antarctica. I really want to do an Antarctica cruise, and that feels more realistic.
We could go to the Arctic and watch The Terror on Netflix. That's kind of a horror show.
My God, that would be crazy if we downloaded like that and like The Thing and shit, and we watch those from like.
Are they in Antarctica or the Arctic? In
Doesn't
The Thing?
matter.
I think they're in
wintry
Antarctica
and scary.
I can't remember now. All right, we already covered The Thing. Shit, that was a long time ago.
Hell yeah, with Felipe. Yeah,
that was a good episode. All right.
Shout out Lippy. I know you still listen.
Sometimes.
Well, you should listen all the time for your shout out. You got to tell him that we shouted him out, and he has to figure out which one it is until he can comment and say what fun nickname I called him.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else to say. We're getting off the rails here.
A little off the rails.
We both got our Steelers stuff on. They're 8-2. Go Steelers.
Hell
they just won. We're recording
bitch.
on Sunday. But we are going to get out of here. We are done. And we'll see you all soon at the next one. So I'm Matt Hanna.
I'm Hanna.
We're done. We're out of here. This is Horror Out the Hannas.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you can find podcasts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannas on TikTok and Instagram for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!